Dear shorthand writers, this is English shorthand dictation number 174 and the dictation speed is 120 words per minute. Ready? Start. Sir, before I proceed to deal with the merits of the amendment which I have tabled, I think it would be desirable if I tried to show to the House the necessity of this amendment. The Honourable Home Minister, while introducing the bill, has stated that the city of Bombay and its citizens are a prey and a victim to certain undesirable characters who tyrannize and molest the weaker section of the community, and the weaker section of the community has neither the determination nor the desire to go to a court of law and obtain a conviction and punishment of such dangerous characters. Consequently, the Honourable Minister thinks that it is necessary to arm the Commissioner of Police in the very interests of the people who are being molested by these dangerous characters, so that he should take action against him. Sir, I readily agree that the danger to which he has referred is a very real one. If the House would allow me to say so, I am very familiar with the kind of evil to which he has referred. I have spent a great part of my life in what I may call the underworld of Bombay city. I have lived among labourers and the lower classes, and I know perfectly well, more than the Commissioner of Police or the Honourable Home Minister, how these poor people are molested by local goons, how utterly impossible it is for these victims to obtain any redress, because they themselves, for fear of further molestation, would not go to a court of law and seek to get a conviction. I therefore think that the bill that has been brought forward is thoroughly justified by the circumstances of the case. But I felt that there was another danger to which the citizens of this city were subjected, and for which he had made no provision in this bill. Sir, the necessity to which I refer is the necessity arising out of what are called communal riots. I have some figures relating to the communal riots that have taken place in the city of Bombay. Between the years 1851 and 1938, there have been altogether 9 communal riots in the city of Bombay. The first 2 riots were between the Muslims and the Parsis. All other riots were between the Hindus and the Muslims. The rapidity with which these riots have taken place is also interesting and important, which the House should bear in mind. Those of us who are conscious of these facts and who know the responsibility will agree that some remedy has to be found for this constant suspension of civilization and the annual bloodbaths in which these two communities are indulging. I do not wish to enter into the causes of these riots, whether they are political, whether they are religious, or whether they are economic, is a matter of no concern to us. The stark fact that a Muslim, without caring for anything, goes and stabs a Hindu, and a Hindu, without caring for anything, stabs a Muslim, is a calamity which we could never tolerate. I think the time has arrived when some measure ought to be forged whereby the authorities in the country will be able to deal with the menace effectively and expeditiously. Referring to the merits of this amendment, the first thing to which I should like to draw the attention of the House is that Clause 3 of my amendment gives the Commissioner of Police the power to remove any person within the limits of the Bombay Presidency if the Commissioner of Police has reasons to believe that the person is acting in such a manner that his presence, his movements, or his acts are responsible for the riot. That is the main aim of the bill. Now, I fully agree that this clause in this bill itself seems to impose a restriction upon the particular individual. I come from a class which needs liberty more than any other class in society. I am by profession a lawyer, and I understand the importance of liberty. But with all that hankering for liberty which is in me by reason of the interests of the class to which I belong, and also by reason of the fact that I am by profession a lawyer, I cannot help saying that there are occasions when, in order to protect the liberty of the large mass of the people, the liberty of the criminal sections in the society can be suspended. I have no hesitation on the point. The only thing which worries me and which ought to worry the members of this House is this: are there any safeguards laid down in order to see that this arbitrary power which we are now giving to the Commissioner of Police will not be misused? That is the only question I submit with which this House, having regard to the necessity of the occasion, could be concerned. Sir, my submission to the House is that there are ample provisions of safeguard in this amendment. Therefore, I will briefly refer to those safeguards. The first safeguard is this: under this amendment, the police commissioner could never begin to exercise this arbitrary power without the knowledge of the legislature or the public at large. He can never do it because, as honorable members will see, this power of the police commissioner will commence and will vest in him only after the emergency proclamation is issued. Before the emergency proclamation is issued, or before the emergency has been declared, the Commissioner of Police will not be able to exercise this power. That is one thing we have got to bear in mind with regard to the provision contained in this amendment. These powers will become operative only after the emergency proclamation is issued, and this has a certain advantage from the point of view of the legislature. If the government issued a proclamation of emergency without any justification, then this House will have an opportunity to move an adjournment motion and condemn the government for having wrongly issued the emergency proclamation. I submit that this is a control which this amendment gives to the legislature in order to see that this power is not abused. The second advantage which this amendment gives is this: it may be that the government issues the proclamation of emergency and refuses to cancel or revoke the proclamation of emergency, so that the Commissioner of Police begins to use the powers and continues using them, notwithstanding the fact that the emergency has ceased to exist. As against this, there is a provision made in this to which I should like to call the attention of the House. By this very amendment, the proclamation will cease after 1 month, unless the government renews it. So there is again an ample safeguard provided here that after 1 month the power shall cease to operate. Another safeguard to which I should like to draw the attention of this House is sub-clause 6, which is very important. Although this amendment gives the Commissioner of Police the power to deport a person who, in his judgment, is causing communal riots, this order of deportation has a limitation to be appended, and that limitation is that as soon as the proclamation of emergency ceases to operate, the order automatically expires, so that a person who has been deported by the Commissioner of Police can return to Bombay.